I lost hundreds of pounds, months of friendship I could have had, and the opportunity to explore more of this gorgeous country, all because nobody told me these 9 things before I moved to Australia. So if you're about to make the move, or if you're already here and things are feeling harder than they should, then this list saves you from repeating my mistakes in your first year of Australia. Let's get into it. Number 1, not setting up a bank account sooner. When I first landed in Australia, I was still using my UK bank account because it had internationally fee-free spending. Now this feels like the easy option when you first get here because you're thinking, oh, I'm not paying anything extra, at least you think you aren't. Also, it's so convenient. I knew eventually I would need an Aussie bank account when I started getting paid here, but what I didn't realise was how difficult it is to set one up. Now, for a lot of mainstream Aussie banks, you will need a utility bill with your full name and full address on it as proof of identification. But the trouble is, if you're a foreigner who's just moved here, you're on a working holiday visa, something like that, it's going to take you a couple of months to go property hunting. Then it might take you a month or 2 to finish off the paperwork for that rental apartment. And then it's going to take you a month or 2 for you to set up your utility bills and get that first utility bill letter through your door with all of that info that they want. I really underestimated the timeline. I thought, great, move to Australia, find a house, set up a bank, do it all in a week. And it actually takes at least 3 months at the bare minimum. And that's if you're like on it every single day, because it is a bit of a part-time job. Also, if you're finding this video helpful or you're enjoying it in any shape or form, consider hitting that like button. Really helps me to keep these videos coming. Now, that convenient UK bank account didn't just cost me a lot of time, it nearly cost me a lot of money. Because number 2, not factoring flights into your monthly budget. Now, if you love your family, or if you have some sort of affinity for your home country, you'll probably want to visit at least once every 1 or 2 years. The trouble is, once you get to Australia and you're living the high life and you're making money, you're making friends, you're starting new hobbies and you're achieving your goals, it's very easy to think, oh, that flight to go see my mum and dad at Christmas, I'll book it closer to the time. I don't want to spend the money right now. Oh, my job's not paying me as much as I thought. I'll just leave it for a bit. I'll have the money later. And later comes and you do in fact not have that money. Now, the way you do this is super, super simple. In the same way you should, if you're a very good person, have a monthly budget with your monthly living expenses. Factor into that now the price of a return flight to your home country. For me, that's the UK. And what I do is I just split that fee into 12 parts. Always, always, always assume it will cost the upper end of that flight fee. Speaking of money mistakes, this next one almost cost me way more than the flights home. That's number 3. Don't waste money on currency exchange. Now, thank you very much to Wise for sponsoring this video. I was about to waste an embarrassing amount of money using a big Aussie bank to send my international money. So I'm heading back to the UK soonish and I need proper spending money, you know, to get things like my proper Cornish cream tea, jam first, obviously. Anyway, I'm about to transfer my Aussie dollars to my UK bank account, which I know now is a very silly mistake because exchange rates move and sometimes you might get a nasty surprise from a sudden rate drop. Now, I've been using Wise way before they sponsored this video and they let you lock in a rate. So the rate you see is the rate you get. And the other thing I love, I've got family in the UK, mates in the US, I've worked in Japan. Wise sends to 140 plus countries from Australia, but from one app. So if you're sending money abroad, I'd highly recommend Wise from personal experience. There's a link at the top of the description below, or you can scan the QR code on screen and your first transfer is fee-free up to 1,000 Australian dollars. Be smart, get Wise. Right, number 4, not exploring the country more. When my wife and I first got here, trying to find an apartment, buy a car, get more video editing clients for my business, it was quite stressful. And then seeing the cost of flights in Australia, you know, it being like several $100s just to get to a different city, it really put me off exploring the country more because I kind of had this limiting belief that I couldn't afford it. But whether you're staying here for 1 year or a lifetime, staying stuck in one city means you're missing out on most of what this gorgeous country has to offer. Now, if you've got a car, brilliant, because local trips, I'm talking like up to 3 or 4 hours, right? The fuel fuel is going to cost you way less than booking a flight to a completely different city. Now, there is so much to do in Australia. I know I blabber on about Queensland and Brisbane a lot, and I'm very passionate about it, but when I visited other places like Sydney and Melbourne, for example, it's really opened my mind to all of the amazing things you can do in Australia. So definitely budget for a couple of trips a year outside of your home location. You can factor it into that monthly budget we spoke about earlier, and trust me, once it gets to New Year's Eve and you look back on, whatever year it is, you'll be so thankful and grateful that you organized time to do those trips. Because if you let life fly past you, not to get too deep, you'll simply regret all that wasted time. And once you do start exploring, you'll realize you'll need one vital thing to make it happen. Lovely little segue into number 5, not getting a car. Now, trust me, you don't need to get a car if you're living in one of the major cities in Australia. You can very affordably get around, but having a car, just like your mum and dad tells you when they're begging you to get driving lessons, it gives you that new sense of freedom. I held off from buying a car for as long as possible because I didn't want to. Once I moved to London in my early 20s, I kind of got used to just using public transport, and I thought, this is fine. And then, I realized, okay, if I want to get out of Brisbane, I'm going to need a vehicle. Now, to contradict what I just said about major cities, Australia is very much built for cars. It really is. And all of these beautiful, national parks and beaches that you'll see all these influencers at, right? And you're like, oh, I want to go to that Instagrammable location. You get on a train or you open Google Maps and you realize, oh, it's going to take me 3 days to do it. When you're in a car, it's cheaper and you could do it in an hour or two. And these are the sort of trips you'll want to do to more remote locations if you really want to explore the nature here particularly. And yeah, you just need a car for it. But cars and flights, they're the easy bit. They really are. The next one is the thing that I really didn't prepare for, which is number 6, forgetting my goals. Now, I got so swept up with, the gorgeous sunshine and exploring as much of Queensland as possible and life admin, finding a house, car, jobs, all that stuff, that my own goals quietly slipped away without me even noticing. Seriously, I took a solid couple of years off from my acting career. Not only my childhood dream, but it's what I got my degree in. It's what I've been working as ever since I was 20 years old. And, I got to my mid-20s, moved to Australia, and suddenly I was forgetting about it. It's so easy to lose who you really are in exchange for this new identity of, oh, I'm the cool person who moved countries. It's so easy, trust me. So please, 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 keep chasing whatever you were chasing back at home. I know people talk about tall poppy syndrome here. I haven't really experienced it, and I found Aussies to be far more supportive of my ambitious goals as opposed to some Brits. Just as a generalization, of course. So losing sight of your goals is one thing, losing people is a whole nother. Number 7, not joining a club. Now, it took me almost 2 full years of living here for me to start building a real community of friends of my own, even though I moved here with my wife, who is Aussie, and I already had her family and friends as a support network. Now, friendship, it doesn't just happen like it did when we were back at school, where you're forced into a class with everyone. But as an adult, we can choose how we spend our time now, and we can choose to spend it just with our partner, just doing our hobbies, just doing our job, and being a very private and introverted person. There's nothing wrong with being an introvert, of course, but after a year or two of being completely on your own in a foreign place, you will probably grow very tired of it. As humans, we know from studies on longevity that having a strong circle of friends is so good for our health. So join that run club. Join that gym, that fitness class, join that book club. Whatever it is that you enjoy and other people do it, go join that thing with other people. Trust me, doing the thing you love with people who are similar to you is just a recipe for making friends for life. Community doesn't find you, you go and find it. And while you're building your new social butterfly life here, don't forget about those few loose ends you left back at home, because number 8, not cancelling your UK subscriptions. Imagine we're back in Cheltenham right now. I've packed my boxes, I've booked my flights. I told myself, oh, goodbye UK, hello Australia, and then 6 months later I've realised that £200 has quietly exited my bank account. Yay! I had these old monthly subscriptions I completely forgot about. Things like the fast delivery subscriptions I had from those online shopping services, my old phone plan, my cinema subscription. to watch as many films as I want. All these small charges you can forget exist, especially if you've been very good, like I said, you've opened that Australian bank account and you don't even really look at the UK bank account anymore, your home country bank account. So what I recommend, right, is cancelling everything before you go, including your monthly mobile phone plan. You're probably thinking, Sam, I don't want to have to get a new one. You don't have to. If you're from the UK anyway, I cancelled my monthly phone plan in the UK, but stuck with the company and just topped up my SIM card with £5 of credit, and then I just have to send my mum a text, right, because she's in the UK, every 3 months to keep the number active. Now, subscriptions are annoying, but this last one can get you fined a huge amount if you ignore it, because number 9, not telling the student loans company you're moving abroad. Now, while this is more tailored for Brits, this might be relevant for you if you have some sort of student loan for school tuition, university fees. In the UK, I think our student loans company is pretty good. They basically pay for your entire degree for you. As long as it's over the income bracket, you have to make a small contribution to it every month, and then after 30 years, it pretty much gets wiped. But I assumed that moving countries wouldn't have affected anything to do with my student loans repayments, and I was completely wrong. You just have to basically supply them with honest and truthful information and see what they say. It's not a big job, but if you're moving away for 3 years, for example, and you never tell them, you will get whacked with a big fine. It will suck, trust me. But if you're actually serious about making this move for real, then knowing the mistakes isn't enough. You need to know actually how to do it. The visas, the logistics, the admin, all the boring bits. I've put together exactly that in my full Move to Australia guide. Go click that. I'll see you over there. Thanks for watching to the end. Bye.